If you've been scrolling through endless gaming laptop lists, watching YouTubers rave about RTX 4000 series cards, and still feel stuck wondering which machine actually gives you the performance you need without emptying your wallet, you're not alone. That hesitation wondering if the specs on the page will translate into smooth frame rates in a real-world session, or if you'll be forced to upgrade again in a year can make the buying decision feel like a gamble. I spent the last few weeks putting the msi Cyborg 15 through the kind of everyday and weekend warrior scenarios most of us care about, and I'm here to break down whether the hype matches the day-to-day reality. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Cyborg 15 is marketed as a mid-range powerhouse, a 13th Gen Intel i7-13620H, an RTX 4050, 32GB of DDR5 RAM, and a 1TB PCIe SSD, all tucked into a 15.6-inch chassis with a 144Hz FHD panel. Those numbers look impressive on paper, but the real test is how they behave when you're swapping between a 30-minute just one more match session and a longer workday that includes video editing or streaming. In practice, the laptop feels surprisingly balanced. The i7-13620H, with its 10 cores and 16 threads, handles modern titles like *Valorant* and *Elden Ring* at medium to high settings without dipping below 70 frames per second on the 144Hz screen. More importantly, that same processor kept my Adobe Premiere timeline buttery smooth when I trimmed a 10-minute highlight reel, thanks to the 32GB of RAM feeding the CPU and GPU simultaneously. One of the biggest hidden trade-offs you'll notice is the thermal design. MSI has gone for a fairly aggressive cooling system with dual fans and multiple heat pipes, which does a decent job of keeping temperatures under 85°C during extended gaming runs. However, you'll still feel a warm exhaust on the right side of the chassis after an hour of intense play, and the fans will spin up noticeably, producing a low to moderate whine that can be heard through headphones. If you plan to game in a quiet room or stream with a mic positioned close to the laptop, you might need to invest in a small desk fan or a laptop stand with better airflow. That's not a deal-breaker, but it's a practical consideration many spec sheets gloss over. Battery life is another area where the reality diverges from the marketing promise. MSI rates the Cyborg 15 at around 6 hours of mixed usage, and that holds true if you're browsing, watching videos, or doing light office work. Throw in a game that pushes the RTX 4050 Fortnite at 1080p, 144Hz, and you're looking at roughly 2 to 2.5 hours before you need to plug back in. For most gamers, that's acceptable because you'll be near a power outlet anyway, but if you're hoping for a laptop that can double as a truly mobile workstation for a full day of remote work, you'll have to temper expectations. Now, who should actually consider buying this machine? If you're a college student or a young professional who wants a single device that can handle both a decent gaming library and the occasional creative workload, the Cyborg 15 hits a sweet spot. The 1TB SSD gives you enough room for a few big game installations, plus space for projects, media files, and the Windows 11 OS without constantly worrying about space. The 144Hz panel is a clear win for fast-paced shooters. The higher refresh rate translates into smoother motion and less perceived input lag, which you'll notice the moment you start aiming in *Apex Legends Star. And the backlit keyboard, while not a premium mechanical feel, is fully programmable, useful if you like to assign macros for MMOs or quick access keys for editing software. On the flip side, there are clear scenarios where you'd be better served elsewhere. If you're a hardcore esports competitor who insists on a full-frame RTX 4070 or higher, the 4050 will start to feel limiting once you push ultra settings in texture-heavy titles. Likewise, if you prioritize a whisper-quiet experience, think of streamers who record with a mic that sits right on the laptop. The fan noise under load may become a nuisance. Finally, if you're looking for a laptop that you can comfortably use on a cramped lap for hours, the 15.6-inch chassis, while portable, is still a bit heavy at around 5.2 pounds, making it less ideal for long-term lap use compared to ultrabooks. One practical strength that isn't always highlighted is the connectivity suite. 2 USB-A 3.2 ports, a USB-C that supports both data and power delivery, an HDMI 2.1 output, and an RJ45 Ethernet jack mean you can plug straight into a monitor, a wired network, or a high-speed external SSD without needing a dongle hub. In my testing, The USB-C was capable of delivering up to 100 W, so you can charge the laptop while simultaneously using an external GPU enclosure if you ever want to boost performance beyond the RTX 4050. The Wi-Fi 6 module also delivered a stable 450 megabits per second connection in a busy apartment building, which is more than enough for most online multiplayer games. Where the value really comes from is the combination of RAM and storage. Many competing